folks, Joe here from the Diershof in Switzerland, directly from our orchard. This is a pear tree, the Pala Birne. Stands here now for 8 years. In the background, a huge tree. That's also a pear. On the neighbor's property, I guess it's at least 150 years old, and that shows you the lifespan of such orchards if you choose the right type of rootstock and cultivars. And this video is all about this. Good. Planning of an orchard, I think, is a wonderful thing. That's perfect for those long evenings, looking into books, literature, look through catalogs of nurseries in your region. Check online. This is, by the way, one of my most famous books. I let it in the rain once. It looks really bad now, but it contains a lot of apple varieties from the old Europe, Britain, Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, and a lot of inspiration. And I was choosing a lot of cultivars based on recommendations in this book. The worst thing you can do is rush out to a garden center and buy the first couple of trees and plant them without any kind of concept. Don't do that. I really recommend do some careful planning, drawing a plan of your garden, of your land, and think about the distances between the rows, between the trees. What do you want to achieve? Is it more a food forest, or is it, let's say, an agroforest type, or kind of a traditional orchard? This is what you want to consider in advance. And then it's really a lot about selecting the right cultivars, because you want robust trees, robust cultivars. Step away from those brands you see in the supermarket like Braeburn, Gala, Pink Lady, Golden Delicious, Green Star, whatever. Those are highly bred varieties, optimized for long storage, for crispiness and so on, but not for flavor. Go back to the old cultivars, and in some regions, like here, you find also money from the government if you help to sustain and conserve those old types of trees. So yeah, do some proper planning, and then go to a nursery, a specialized nursery in your area, where they also can give you recommendations. They know what grows in the climate, in your local climate, and what doesn't. And I think that is very helpful. So I shape together with a local nursery the plan of the cultivars for our orchard. So this is the type of tree you want to plant in an orchard, old style, permaculture. Every orchard is permaculture, permanent culture. Look at the crown. This is nearly textbook style. The type of pruning the whole system. You see 4 strong side branches going in all directions and 1 middle stem going up. They make the skeleton of the whole tree. It's very important from the beginning to prune it into that shape. And on those main branches come shorter ones. We call them Fruchtäste, and the next level are those very fine branches where finally the fruit grows. So a crown of this shape, called here Öschberg-Krone, or sometimes Öschberg-Palmer. Oh, those rodents, incredible. They perforate the whole landscape here. The idea of this crown is that it's open so that sunlight and air goes everywhere inside the crown, because this is important for fruit to ripe. You see often that mistake that crowns are too dense, and so you have only fruit in the outer layers and the inner of the crown remains empty. So that's the style, how you want to prune a tree for healthiness and an abundant harvest. An important aspect of these trees is that they have a high stem. So the first branches start here more or less on a height of 1.80 meters. The point is, in the old times, such a shape was chosen so you can walk under the trees, you can work under the trees, you can cultivate the land under it, even using light machinery, and cattle can graze under it. You see often what we call here low stems, where the first branches go away in this direction, or half stems maybe in this direction. Over there are some. But this is the traditional form, and what is really important to consider for you when you buy a tree is the type of rootstock. Because the rootstock, this is where, as the name suggests, that's the roots of a tree, and the cultivar is grafted onto it. So, if you want to plant an orchard with a long lifespan, you need not any kind of dwarfing rootstocks or plantation rootstocks, which keep the tree small and less vigorous. You want this kind of seedling a rootstock with full vitality. The rootstock determines how big the tree becomes. If you have a dwarfing rootstock, then a tree of this age would be this size, or this maybe, and not grow any bigger. So a healthy rootstock choice is a very big and important point for your planning and selection of an orchard. I have to fight the rodents here. This is unbelievable. Because they eat the roots of the plants, of the trees. The distance you want to have between the trees, still talking about these high stem trees, should be around 10 meters. So often I see orchards where they plant much narrower, but this is not good. It's hindering the full potential of the tree. So all the distances you see here are around 10 meters. That means in, I don't know, 20, 30 years, when I will be gone, the crowns of these trees will be touching each other. Actually now, December 24, it's a big point in time for me. Last weekend, we planted all these trees here in this row and many more, 16 all in all. So by now we have more than 50 what I call high stem fruit trees of old cultivars and varieties here on our property.
Sorry.
Wie lange geht's?
Wir haben Gold gefunden.
Das Video ist
Minuten.
Golden Pipi.
Hihi, Golden PP.
Golden Pipi. Es kommt bald.
Ja, siehst du das nicht? This is great. So the other trees, the larger ones, they are now, what, let me think, 16. Yeah, they are 8 years old. So in those here, they are freshly planted. And there you see how a bare root, a tree you buy in a nursery, looks like. The one close to me, the apple is called Prinz Albrecht von Preußen. A great name. It was a prince of Prussia. It's rather small, but there are other ones already quite big, up to 2.50 meters, maybe 3 meters tall is this one over there. But that's the size when you buy it bare root in the nursery in wintertime. Finally, the planting of the trees. I've made a complete video about this topic, so I put a link down in the description, but very briefly. You want a big hole, 1 meter per 1 meter square, I recommend. Depth maybe like this, 40 centimeters, something like this. The trees you buy in wintertime, bare root. Why? It's cheaper and they have a head start when they start growing in the springtime. So with all my bare root trees, I have much better experiences than those bought in a pot. Is that a kite? No. It's, how is it called in English? A buzzard? However, important point, here you have to protect the rootstock with a layer, with a mesh, a steel mesh. So basically it's a 2 by 2 meter piece of a, how is this called? Fence. And you wrap the whole rootstock into this mesh, wire mesh. Otherwise, the rodents, they will eat the roots completely. I have planted trees without that protection. I wonder, why is it not growing? Why are all the leaves hanging? And I took it and I could pull it out. It was just a stick, no more leaves. So here, root protection is an absolute must. Then you fill the hole with the soil. You mix in some compost. You can mix in some mycorrhizas, those beneficial fungi. Yep. What else? You close the hole. And then important is a very strong watering to really rinse the soil onto the roots. Forgot to say, the fence post you hit in the best case, before you plant the tree. So through the wire mesh. Finally, also must here you need to protect the stem with a specialized kind of sleeve. Otherwise, rabbits, hares, deer, venisons, they would chew off the tasty, obviously, bark of the freshly planted trees. That's not what you want. So, I think so much about the planting. And now, I wish you all the best if you have such a project. And consider a true planning. Take your time, and you will have something to enjoy for a very long time. Not only you, but your kids and grandchildren. See you.